Okay, welcome back. I am a safe 6 foot away distance from our Habersham Emergency Medical Services Director, Chad Black. Chad, thank you for talking with me today.
No, thank you for having us.
So we know that the SPLOST renewal is coming up for vote on November 3rd, and 53% of this renewal funds public safety. So can you talk to us a little bit about the projects specifically as they relate to your department?
We can. Of course, we provide fire, emergency medical service, rescue, and community paramedicine within our department of emergency services. And two different budgets, fire and EMS, they come because we EMS for the entire county, fire for the unincorporated areas of Habersham County. But on the fire side, we have our general and personal protective clothing, which is our turnout gear that our personnel, when they go in to fight structure fires, car fires with, that's between $2,000 and $3,000 per person just to put them in that gear. That's not counting the SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. That's just their gear. That is paid for 100% out of SPLOST funds. We also have our administrative vehicle replacements for our supervisors, battalion chief, captains, for our administrative command staff here. Now we buy, for the command staff, we buy used vehicles. But for our field people that are out running the calls, we want to get them new. They need that. You know, they're running calls every day, a very busy service. Thermal imaging cameras, we have some in the department that are very outdated. We were able to buy 3 new ones last year. But those are where, when they go into a structure fire, they're able to see through the smoke, and if it's a victim, they can actually find them through the smoke. We also use that for lost persons at night. You can use it and find people out in the wilderness. So there's a lot of uses for that, hazmat incidents. Cancer has become a very, unfortunately, big issue in the fire service. And of course, we had a state law passed that the county has to provide cancer coverage for all personnel. This has been going about 3 or 4 years now. But one of the things that we have identified is our turnout gear when we go to structure fires, where we just wash it off and do things. The carcinogens in that's not adequate. They have traced that firefighters are getting cancer from wearing that gear dirty. So now they make what they call extractors, which is a commercial washing machine that removes that. You don't want to wash turnout gear in a regular washing machine with other clothes. So SPLOST is going to fund and help purchase those for our department. We're updating 3 of our stations that are very, very old this year on phase 1 of remodeling. Stations 13, 16, and 14. SPLOST pays for that. New roofs and things like that. Big capital improvements. And then fire trucks are very expensive. New fire trucks now, $400,000 to $500,000 on pretty much a basic. SPLOST pays for new fire trucks, but one of the other things we've done, instead of buying used vehicles from another department that, you know, if they're getting rid of it, they're getting rid of it for a reason. We've taken some of our trucks that we know are still in decent shape but needed upgrades, and we're refurbishing those trucks for $100,000 versus spending $500,000. Now we are going to need some new ones, but refurbishing saves, and again, that comes out of SPLOST funding. Tankers that we have to have that affects our ISO rating. We're at a 5 now, trying to go to a class 4, which will save you a little bit of money on your premiums. It also pays for that. So us in the sheriff's department, our equipment is very expensive. Ambulances, fire trucks, but SPLOST pays for that. The paper did a story last year. There was between 300 and 400 accidents on the 4-lane between Georgia 15, 365, and Toccoa Highway. 300 to 400 accidents last year in 2019. Now, out of those, we didn't respond on every one of them, but I think we responded to almost 300 of them that had injuries or potential injuries. A lot of those people are from out of town, but they're here, they're in accidents, they're requiring our services, but they're stopping to get fuel, they're stopping to eat, so that 1 cent makes a difference. It helps. Now, on the EMS side of the house, we have the state-of-the-art cardiac monitors now. We were able to upgrade and have all new ones. We've got 3 years of paying those off. But by going ahead last year and the commission doing that, we saved the taxpayers, I think it was $78,000 because of the discount we got to go ahead and upgrade. That came out of SPLOST dollars. Ambulances, we're very busy. We have to replace at least 1 a year. Now, we just got 2 new ones through the CARES funding because 6 years ago when they set up in the SPLOST to replace 1 a year, our call volumes have dramatically increased, and
Yeah.
our out-of-county transports.
Yeah.
We're going to about 8,000 miles more a month than we were 2 years ago.
Wow.
That's almost 100,000 miles a year on those ambulances. So we had to get ahead of the game.
Sure.
But getting a new ambulance every year, that's $200,000 to $250,000 right there. Stretchers, we just got brand new in through the CARES funding, but our stretchers are going to be able to be put in with a power load system. That has always been a big project as part of SPLOST. And then for our people on the EMS side of the house, their protective clothing, turnout gear, and things like that. And then we have one Lucas CPR device, which is instead of manual CPR for patients in cardiac arrest, we have 3 in the county now. We will have 4, but it's a mechanical device that does CPR.
Okay.
It never stops, it never gets tired like a human does, so you don't have to worry about interruptions in that chest compressions for those patients that are suffering cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
But those are our big tickets. Always our big ticket is salaries. Of course, SPLOST doesn't pay for salaries, but outside of that, our equipment is what costs so much, and probably 80 to 90% of our big ticket items is funded through SPLOST.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned this briefly, but the radio systems that you use. Tell us about the challenges you've experienced with that just here recently.
No, it is. The radio system was not adequate the day it was bought.
Okay.
It's not a public safety radio system. There are gaps in the Duncan Bridge Road and 365 where we have a lot of accidents. It's dead right there. You can hardly get out on the radios. My concern, not as much for us there, my concern is law enforcement. They're on a traffic stop there and something happens, then they can't get out to call for help.
Yeah.
And we actually had a command staff meeting last week, and we've instructed our people, if you see a law enforcement officer out on a traffic stop, don't interfere with it. But if you're not on a call, or you can stop at a distance and just keep an eye on them to make sure they're okay till they get back in the car and go. Now, if there's 2 officers there, don't worry, they got each other's back. But our personnel is going to start watching after them because we cannot trust this radio system. And especially you see what's going on in today's world, we worry about them.
Well, just you saying your call volume has been up
Call
so
volume's
much,
up.
then there's
If
obviously,
we're inside a building, this portable radio here, I can monitor. But if I needed to talk on it, I've got to get up and go outside and hold it up to be able to talk on it. Now, my concern there is if we're inside our personnel inside a building fighting a structure fire, and we have a collapse, or the floor falls through with them, and we have what we call a mayday, can our personnel get out on those radios and say mayday, 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 so our incident commander, then there's certain procedures we implement.
Yeah.
In today's world, that's not going to happen in most cases.
Right.
So this radio system we need, and the commission has stepped up and put in the budget for a system that will take us 20, 25 years down the road. They are expensive, but we've got to know that when our personnel get out there and they need help, they can push that button and that radio is going to work.
Yeah.
One of the biggest projects that we have for our department, now the radio system is by far the largest project, I believe, ever on SPLOST for the county. But the next one large is our emergency services central station. For 30 years, the county's been talking about putting a fire station in the center of the county for the unincorporated areas.
Right.
We still have not gotten there. Our command staff is here at Station 9 in the far north end of the county. Monday through Friday, we're here, so when we get busy, we help pick up calls, and we've got an ambulance spare here that we can jump on and go if it gets busy, and trucks are, we're out of ambulances. But we rely on Demorest and Clarksville to pick up a lot of calls in the county for us in that central area, automatic aid, and they're great partners. But that's not their responsibility, it's the county's responsibility. So we have $4 million on the SPLOST for a new headquarters station finally in the center of the county. That'll be somewhere, Demorest, Mount Airy, High School, somewhere.
Okay.
To also cover that Dix Hill Parkway and have better response there. That's very important, and we'll move our command staff. With a merger in 2018, our department has grown dramatically. We're at almost 70 people full-time.
Wow.
Another 30-something part-time, and then 50 volunteers. So
wow.
we have outgrown
Over
this
100.
station. We have well outgrown this station. And we need to be centered where we can help out more. So it'll also give us that coverage. We won't have Demorest relying on them to respond to a lot of calls for us. So that's very important. One of the things we did last year, we didn't have a brush truck for brush fires. We had engines, but engines can't go off unimproved surfaces. We took $21,000 and took an old rescue, took the body off, and our people built a brush truck that has an automatic nozzle with a joystick in that you can pull up on and start flowing water immediately. A truck like that to spec and build is usually $150,000, $175,000 on the low end. We did it for $21,000 and it turned out almost like brand new.
Wow.
But that was SPLOST dollars at work and was able to do that. So the radio system and our central station are two big ticket items, but they're items that is extremely needed for this county.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've got a pretty substantial list of projects as they relate just to with the fire and the EMS. So I appreciate you sharing that list of projects. And again, if you want to research a little further, you can go to habershamga.com for a complete list of all of the SPLOST 7 projects. And remember that voters have their choice on November the 3rd. So Chad, thank you again for being a part of this. And
Thank you.
We'll be right back.